So it really happened. When it comes to Cardano, the Van Rossum hard fork, it again finally happened. I'm not joking. Take a look at Intersect. They recently said that the Van Rossum hard fork has been successfully enacted on Cardano mainnet, which is such a major victory. And remember my last video when I was talking about how it was supposed to happen, and now it really did happen. So I'll talk about this on today's video, even though nothing I say is financial advice and I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but we have to think about why this could be so monumental. In a sense where, if we take a look at this, the Van Rossum hard fork is, in my opinion, going to improve the developer experience when it comes to Cardano. The reason why is because when it comes to this, it's going to bring amazing security when it comes to Cardano. Not that it was lacking it before, but this is just a lot better now for Cardano. And if we think about this, this is hypothetically going to maybe attract more developers when it comes in the case of AI. In a sense where if the developer experience is better, what happens? It could potentially allow for more developers to enter. And if more developers build, what happens? If they do happen to build something that gains mass adoption, naturally, Cardano could go along with the ride if that were to be the case. So sure, people like to say, well, ADA, it's still at around 16.5 cents. This is not that good. But typically during a market downturn, this space, it doesn't really care too much about massive upgrades like this. But this could matter a lot maybe moving forward. This is just how the space works, in my opinion. Take a look at Cardano. Had this Van Rossum hard fork happen last year, we're talking about a totally different ecosystem, a totally different ball game. But as of right now, people don't really consider it to be massive at all. But I still think that it could impact Cardano in such a massive way. The thing is this, big upgrades, big updates when it comes to a particular project, at a market downturn, it's easy for me to dismiss it and say, oh yeah, it's not that good. But I oftentimes like to put myself in a different perspective, in a sense where when I take a look at an upgrade or an update or whatever, I think to myself, would I consider this to be a massive thing had this happen, let's say in 2024 or 2025, or let's say if the market was doing a lot better? And if my answer is yes, then I would consider that news or upgrade to be amazing regardless of the price charts. The price charts don't influence my reaction as to what I think about an upgrade or an update. If it's amazing, I'll think it's amazing despite the price charts not looking the best. And also on top of that, the Van Rossum hard fork, even though I already mentioned this, but every time I don't, people like to complain, so here it goes. The Van Rossum hard fork is going to allow for Cardano to have an even more massive upgrade moving forward, in which case it could very well allow for something called Leos to actually come into mainnet. Now, Leos is going to bring amazing scalability when it comes to Cardano. So if we take a look at that right there, the repercussions of this recent upgrade could be so long-lasting and it could impact the developers moving forward. Now, people like to say, but there's not that many developers as of right now. Why does this matter? But this is more so being proactive, right? It's not being reactive. Other projects out there, they try to do big upgrades or massive updates when the market is doing better, when developers start entering, but sometimes that's too late. They have to lay down the foundation first. They have to lay down the groundwork, which is exactly what I'm seeing as of right now when it comes to Cardano. I'm just going to use this as an example. Imagine in a pure hypothetical, I am a big fan of potato salad, which I am, but I'm just saying in a pure hypothetical, let's say I wanted to make a restaurant that only sold potato salad for whatever reason. I know it may sound kind of bizarre, but let's just assume that is the case. Let's say I open it in a certain city or town that may not really like potato salad too much. Imagine, if I open that restaurant, maybe in the beginning it might not do too good, but what happens if that potato salad trend were to enter into this specific city or town? Then when that wave really comes in, that restaurant that already specialized in potato salad anyways, it kind of goes along with the ride. It's a little bit no different like in the case of, let's say, Amazon. When Jeff Bezos made Amazon, initially, I mean, it wasn't like the best automatically. It took time. But when that e-commerce wave really set in, they were in a position to catch that wave because they already laid down the groundwork, so to speak. They already put in the foundation. So when it comes to Cardano, we take a look at the Van Rossum hard fork and how that could very well allow for Leos moving forward to come into mainnet. Again, this is Cardano, in a sense, having this proactive sort of vibe, not reactive. And also on top of that, need I remind people, even though I already talked about this in my previous video, this is actually like a pretty monumental moment when it comes to Cardano, in a sense where this kind of showcases its hypothetical decentralized nature, in a sense where this is allegedly the first one where the community, through delegated representatives, had real, like, say in terms of the voting and stuff like that on whether a major upgrade happens or not. So this showcases like a quite monumental time where we see the decentralized nature when it comes to Cardano. Some other projects out there, for an upgrade like this to happen, the founder would need really great influence. They would really need to push it and all this. But when it comes to this, we already saw Charles Hoskinson himself claim that he doesn't have much control over Cardano. That's the thing, which I don't think is a bad thing, by the way. And also on top of that, we're seeing the Van Rossum hard fork. This, if anything, further clarifies Cardano's positioning as this project that has a decentralized sort of vibe. Now I get it. It may not matter too much currently, but once developers start entering again, if the market were to recover, and if, let's say, moving forward, more enterprises notice this, those are some bonuses that they care about, like in terms of the pros, right? They care about those strengths. In terms of Cardano having this decentralized vibe and all this, they usually care about that. And if we think about it as well, it's not like Cardano is doing so bad. I mean, okay, it may not be doing the best as of right now, but ADA is currently ranked 16th in the world in terms of market cap. So clearly, I mean, okay, people like to say it's down compared to last year. True. But comparatively speaking, when it comes to the space, it's still holding up pretty strong. Usually projects of this size don't really want to upgrade too much anymore, but we're still seeing this when it comes to Cardano. So it's very impressive. And if we think about it as well, this was coordinated pretty amazingly when it comes to the Van Rossum hard fork, because usually, when we see some upgrades out there for other projects, when they go into mainnet, there's so much drama, there's so much things going on, so many complications. It's pretty much with like almost zero drama, in my opinion. Happened pretty smoothly. It was reported that it was going to happen on July 18th, and it actually did. So again, this is pretty impressive. Not that much drama, surprisingly, when it comes to this. I'm actually kind of shocked to see how smoothly it went. I get it. It may sound a little bit counterintuitive, like, why are you surprised that it went so smoothly? Well, it's because for other projects, usually it's not that smooth. Usually the kind of upgrades that happen, there's a lot of hiccups. Sometimes there's like, issues that goes on. I just didn't see much here when it comes to this. Pretty smooth, actually. And also, if I take a look at it, again, through the Van Rossum hard fork, smart contracts are going to get better performance. There's an updated cost model, so apparently it could make it more economically friendly, allegedly. And then also on top of that, bringing amazing security, just like I talked about in my previous video when it comes to the Van Rossum hard fork. So this is pretty impressive stuff right here. And if we think about it as well, what I think this does is that it's going to make Cardano a lot more competitive. The reason why I say that is because inherently, Ethereum, Solana, BNB, and all this, they are competitors when it comes to Cardano. I mean, sure, they're all within the same space, but they're competing, in my opinion. So any slight advantage that Cardano could have, it matters a lot. So if through the Van Rossum hard fork, it increases the security when it comes to Cardano, that's a slight advantage right there. Also on top of that, this Van Rossum hard fork could very well allow for something called Leos moving forward, which is going to bring amazing scalability when it comes to Cardano. That's another advantage, right? So they're kind of stacking up their advantages to make it more competitive to compete against the likes of a Solana or an Ethereum and many others, right? So this is what I like when it comes to Cardano. It seems like it keeps innovating, even though people like to say, well, this has been around for so long. And sometimes people like to say, oh, there's no innovation going on. But I disagree with that. Cardano more and more is establishing itself as this project that has been around for a long time, but is still seeing improvements and upgrades happen to it. So I do like seeing that. And again, there's not much I can really talk about when it comes to the price of ADA because it's still at around 16.5 cents, basically somewhat the same as my previous video. But again, that's not the main point of this video anyways. If there is a movement when it comes to the price charts, I'll talk about it, but there isn't really much I can talk about as of right now when it comes to that. Granted, I'm still waiting, I'm still holding, but in the meantime, I am focusing on the fundamentals when it comes to Cardano. The fact that this Van Rossum hard fork happened when it did, it's a major victory, And I think it could very well alter Cardano moving forward for the better, right? Because it's going to improve the developer experience and allow for bigger upgrades moving forward, which is only going to help it, I think. However, I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward. So I want to say thank you so much for watching.